Cousin Louis' request for help could not remain unanswered. You set off for your hometown without hesitation. To the town of Pestisville. You got there soon enough. You noticed that the locals were quick to leave this place. You felt observed. This is where you were supposed to meet your cousin. However, the room was empty. While searching for information on your cousin's whereabouts, you heard a strange sound of footsteps in the corridor. After a while, there was a knock on the door.
In many a time, in many a land, with many a gun in many a hand, they came by the night, they came by the day, came with their guns to take us away. With a knock on the door, knock on the door, here they come to take one more, one more. Back in the days.
Forgive Me Father is an indie FPS by the team Bite Barrel, who mainly worked on a bunch of Mythbusters games before this. No offense to Mythbusters, but probably not the greatest pedigree. From the gameplay that you are seeing, it is pretty obvious that Forgive Me Father is trying to evoke old school sprite-based FPS. Now, I've played some of these, in particular the old Shadow Warrior and Duke Nukem games, and generally enjoyed them. I think they actually still have a lot to offer compared to many modern shooter genres. The variety of weapons, different enemy design, the arcadey feel of the movement feels very refreshing when you grew up in an era where even the Tomb Raider reboot apparently needed a bloody screen. Now, I don't feel like Forgive Me Father is doing anything particularly novel in any of these departments. I like most of the stuff it does. I think that one level where you're underwater and can only use the spear gun is kinda cool, but nothing really groundbreaking is being done here. Which is fine, just doesn't make the game stand out very much. There is an upgrade system for all the weapons you can find, and you can play two characters with different abilities, which rely on a Madness Gauge. This gauge fills as you hit and don't get hit, causing you to do more damage, take less damage, and it adds a grayscale filter to the game, which I'm personally not a huge fan of. Sometimes it makes it legit hard to differentiate who is shooting at you. That being said, I really like the use of the lantern mechanic in this game. In certain parts you have to traverse dark corridors with a light. But as you use a shooty hand for holding the light, you will have to let go of the light and fight the enemy in the dark. Maybe this isn't as novel as I think it is, but it's the first time I've encountered it. One thing Forgive Me Father does carry over from old school games is the lack of a map. I don't know if developers just keep overestimating the brain size of the average player, but I'm stupid as shit and I would appreciate a map. What is perhaps a bigger selling point for Zom is the prominent Lovecraft flavor. Invoking horror or demonic themes is kind of a commonplace for these games, going all the way back to Doom's Demons on the Moon. There is a difference, however, in being implicitly influenced by Lovecraft and drawing from him directly. Forgive Me Father follows many before it, in reducing Lovecraft down to the diner of Cthulhu and Innsmouth. Regardless of that, however, Forgive Me Father does quite well in feeling Lovecraftian in its setting. The interwar America era in which the game takes place, with its technology and paranoia, is a bigger feature of Lovecraft style than the common Lovecraftisms that abound later on. Below the surface, the story is certainly not very interesting. I don't expect a very intricate plot from a mechanic-driven retro FPS, but if you're going to tell the story in a very indirect way, I believe you have to have a larger variety of themes to hint at. The way it is now, it seems like the game is trying to cover up that there's not much interesting stuff going on. Lovecraft may be an unfortunate choice for a point of reference for this kind of game, since many of the underlying themes of Lovecraft's work are hard to handle with competence in this kind of format. I believe this is one of the reasons the game feels kind of surface level when it comes to engaging with inspiration. The ending is also just kind of dumb. Again, I don't mind schlockiness per se, I just think it isn't all very well executed. I've been so much shitting on the game for the last few minutes, so I want to stress that I don't think it is bad per se. I think as a shooter it is pretty fun and it doesn't overstay its welcome either. On the level of mechanics I don't have many qualms with it either, though I think the boss design could use some work. It just could be a bit more than it is theme and story wise. Maybe the sequel that was recently announced will improve in this direction? A disappointing ending can serve as an interesting beginning for a sequel at least.